Pull up a bar stool. Because humanity is a collective fever dream. We are talking about a war started over literal eclairs. Welcome to 1830s Mexico, where the government was a chaotic group. Chat with no admin. Everyone was fighting for the crown. It was messy. They burned through 20 presidents in just 20 years. Imagine The Bachelorette, but the roses are military coups and gunpowder. Total disaster. There was basically zero policing. So looting was the national pastime. Shops were getting trashed like a Friday night smash room. Enter our hero. Meet Monsieur Remontel, a French pastry chef who just wanted to sell cream puffs in peace. He lived in Tacubaya. He was portly. In 1828, drunken Mexican soldiers treated his shop like an all-you-can-eat buffet. They ate everything and smashed the display cases. Big mistake. Remontel demanded 60,000 pesos in damages for a shop worth maybe 1,000. He was definitely chasing that bag early. He was relentless. That is like getting a scratch on your old Corolla and demanding a fleet of Teslas. The Mexican government left him on red for 10 years. Remontel eventually went full, "I want to speak to the manager," and wrote to King Louis Philippe of France. The king listened. France was already salty about unpaid debts and high taxes on their exports. The pastry shop was just a convenient excuse, a sweet pretext. King Louis Philippe decided to bring main character energy to the situation. He demanded 600,000 pesos for all French claims. Mexico said, "Nope, that is like your Netflix sub lapsing and the company sending an entire army to occupy your living room." Absolute power move. France sent a naval fleet to Veracruz to blockade the coast. They were ready to turn baguettes into bullets. Things got real. Admiral Charles Baudin was the man with the plan and the guns. He was a veteran who lost an arm previously. He was tough. The target was San Juan de Ulua, a fortress nicknamed the Gibraltar of the Indies. Everyone thought it was an invincible. Spoiler, the fort had old guns and sick soldiers. It was basically a He-Man playset compared to the French tech. In November 1838, the French ships opened fire. It was the first time steamships were used for war support. The bombardment was so intense, they had to stop just to let the smoke clear, so they could see savage efficiency. 2 powder magazines exploded, and the signal tower collapsed. In a massive mushroom cloud, the fort was toast. Literally and figuratively, the fort surrendered in a single afternoon. Mexico was stunned. They immediately declared war and kicked out all French citizens. The beef escalated, and to the legend, General Santa Anna. He was in disgraced retirement after losing Texas. He needed a redemption arc, big time. He took command of the defense, styling himself the Napoleon of the West. He was basically a 19th century hype man. The comeback began. The French launched a daring dawn raid to capture the generals. They blew the city gates and stormed in total chaos. Santa Anna escaped in his underwear. Imagine running for your life while lacking pants. That is a mood. He regrouped quickly. He led a counterattack, but the French used grape shot, which is basically a giant shotgun blast for boats. It was brutal. A French cannon shredded Santa Anna's leg. His horse was killed under him. It was a very bad day. But wait, he used the injury to fix his reputation. He gave his amputated leg a full military funeral with honors. I am not joking. If you are not burying your own limbs with a 21-gun salute, are you even living your best life? The British finally stepped in as the adults in the room to mediate. Nobody wanted the trade to stop. Mexico agreed to pay the 600,000 pesos. The French sailed away. Eclairs and honor supposedly restored. But there is more. Mexico never actually finished paying the bill. It is like forgetting your credit card debt until the bank invades 20 years later. France used those same unpaid debts to invade again in the 1860s. That is the war that gave us Cinco de Mayo. Most people treat Cinco de Mayo as National Margarita Day, but it literally started because a guy wanted pastry money. Drink up. And Santa Anna? He became president 7 more times. The man had more political lives than a cat. But his leg saga did not end at the funeral during a later war. American soldiers kidnapped his prosthetic leg. They literally stole it. He was eating lunch and took it off to be comfy. The Illinois volunteers ambushed him and took the leg. That leg is still in a museum in Illinois. Mexico wants it back, but Illinois is like, finders keepers, peak pettiness. But your guys never had this kind of flair. History is weird, seriously. We went from a stolen croissant to a naval blockade, to a limb being held hostage in the Midwest escalation. This war showed that Latin America was not just a buffet for Europe, even if Europe thought otherwise. It crippled the Mexican economy right before the US invaded in 1846. Talk about bad timing. Mexico lost half its territory in that next war, all while led by, you guessed it, the one-legged legend, Santa Anna strikes again. So if you are ever opening a bakery in a war zone, maybe get some insurance, or a tank, your call. Because apparently a cheese Danish can trigger a geopolitical domino effect that lasts a century. It reminds us that history is often driven by the small, petty grievances of people who refuse to let go. Never underestimate a man who feels he has been overcharged for his dessert. He might just have a king on speed dial next-level Karen, and never leave a French baker on red for a decade. It is bad for your health and your Navy fact. So next time you bite into an eclair, remember it once cost 600,000 pesos and a general's leg. Sweet deal history is a bar fight that never ends. And we are all just trying to keep our limbs attached. Drink up. Stay cynical. And for the love of everything, pay for your pastries. Catch you later.